Hi, Srivarani, and welcome back to our channel. And today, I really thank you because you have accepted to share your success story for FRM Part 1 in the exam conducted in May 2022. So before we delve into the success story part of it, we would like to understand a little bit about your background, where you come from, what exactly you do, and what motivated you to take up a course like that of FRM, and obviously down the line how you actually prepare. So let's start with your background, Srivarani.
Um, so there was like, am I audible now, sir?
Yes, yes, you
Okay.
are audible.
Great. Okay. So first of all, thank you so much for inviting me here, sir. Like I was totally out of the blue, and I'm like very happy that I'm even getting to meet someone like you because I highly respect what you're doing, like doubt clearing and connecting doubt clearing and like giving short videos explaining all the complex questions. So it's like I really appreciate it because I've never seen a person like you do something like this free for students studying. So first of all, thank you so much for all that you do, and second of all, thank you for inviting me here to share my story. So I am Srivarani. So I come from Erode, from Tamil Nadu. So I did all my schooling there. And then I did my BCom honors from Christ University, Bangalore. I graduated in 2018, and after that I got a job. I've I mean till college I had no clue about FRM and CFA. Like I thought I knew about CFA. I thought it was like something like experienced people do who are into 10 years into professions. I didn't research much into it. And then I got and mostly I was mostly focused on getting a job, and I was also preparing for my IPCC. So initially my plan was to do CA, but unfortunately it didn't go as planned. So I gave my two IPCC attempts and I couldn't clear both. So I met with two failures, and then I started working in fact. So thankfully, in my third, I started working in InfraHealth, and InfraEdge is a subsidiary of State Street. So what they do, it's a managed account platform. They give all the risk analytics, NAV oversight services, and compliance monitoring services to all institutional investors. So I got a lot of exposure there. So that's one main thing that I gained, and thankfully, I was blessed to meet lot of brilliant minded people. So a lot of CFAs, FRM, CAs, and IAM graduates. It was the creme de la cream, the type of crowd. So and they were very down to earth as well. So like in real life, I could see a lot of role models, and that I wanted to personalities I wanted to emulate further down in my career line. So yeah, so that was a major inspiration for me to take up any of my studying. So otherwise, I would have just gone with an MBA or something else. But I really wanted to test myself and improve my caliber because I could see the level of caliber that an FRM grad, like person who has completed and has a charter, FRM and CFA caliber. You can clearly distinguish they from their emails, the way they talk to people, how they solve doubts and everything. So I just wanted to get into it. But unfortunately, for the first 3 years, as I started working, I could not afford an FRM since it's obviously costly degree, as in costly course as well. So I thought I'll wait for some time, but I was trying. I ordered the books. I kept on. Even CFA, I prepared for the first level. I didn't get the access scholarship nor women's scholarship, but I kept studying and I finished studying for CSA level one, but I haven't given the exam yet. So that was how I was because obviously I had budget concerns as well. So since I was working and studying, so it went on like that. So thankfully, in May 2021, I was able to register for FRM. Uh, and then I prepared for May 2021, but I'm sorry, November 2021. But unfortunately, the Chennai floods happened and exam got postponed. So, and then I was like, okay, it's okay, it happens. And then I took it in the stride, and then I gave my May 2022 exam. So that is my experience. So yeah, 3 years I worked there, and then I moved to Empower Retirement. So currently I'm working as a fund accountant. So currently I've close to 4.5 years of experience. So this is a little background about myself.
Excellent, Srivarani. I'm more than impressed because perhaps a little bit senior to you, so I can perhaps say it with the bit of experience maybe which I have, is that I believe on the and not getting into the academic details or the rigor of the course, but I believe that you possess all the right skills, all the right soft skills to actually succeed. And personally speaking, nothing actually pleases me more than seeing women actually climb the corporate ladder, and they because any industry per se, for that matter, and more so the financial services sector industry today is actually in dearth of women leadership. And just like many other stalwarts, I also humbly believe that it's people like you, maybe your peers, maybe somebody else, who would actually neutralize this gender bias which is existing today in the financial services sector. More and more women climbing up the ladder will speak volume, will bring in the much diversity and obviously the out of box thinking that is much needed. See, any industry is not about any academic degree. Okay, it's a culmination of lot many factors, of which the soft skills part which you have the right attitude. Most important thing which I can figure out is that you have the right attitude. You tend to take any given situation not as a problem but as an opportunity. Please maintain this poise. Don't think that this is just part of the interview that I'm saying. Don't lose this thing which you have. This is a gift that you have. Don't lose this thing. As they say, the meek will inherit the earth. So remain focused on your work. Let your work speak volumes, but not otherwise.
Thank
So
you.
yes, remain focused, remain as humble as you are, and I'm sure that you will obviously climb much higher heights. This is just a beginning. Okay, so from that, you have explained. Um, so you finally decided to take up the exam in November 2021, and I believe the pandemic delayed it or something like that, and it got postponed.
Yeah.
Um, Fine. So, congratulations because you have successfully now passed the exam, and I know that you have been pretty humble, saying that luck played a major. Well, luck does play a role. I'm not denying a fact. In any sphere of life, luck will play a role. There will be some X factor which is there. But then, as I say, that some will work for you, some will not work for you. So we don't mention when they don't work for us. It's part of human nature that not many people like you say it played for me. But at the same time, do not belittle your own achievement. You have done wonders, and that is beautiful thing which is there. And I sincerely believe that you're going to show the same kind of you're going to show the same kind of commitment, the same kind of focus in your parts two journey. And I'm sure that we will be there around. I'll be there around across all your groups, all your uh, colleagues and peers who are will be taking exam. So from that, sorry for the big verbose that I gave, but
No,
I
no,
have.
no. Thank you so much.
So tell me about your approach. How you actually approach the exam as such, the course as such.
Yes. So before I started preparing, so my initial thought was I had like disclosure. I had an understanding of the concept since I was worked in this management industry. So I knew what Excel shortfall was, VAR was, and all the delta, gamma, theta because I was calculating the delta adjusted exposures for all types of financial instruments and etc. and all stuff. But the thing was, I didn't like. There are minute things that I learned, like why is express shopper better than VAR, let's say, or things like that. And it gave me a lot of perspective to my existing knowledge because previously I could just only calculate, but now I was able to understand the concepts. So I would like. So I am more of a concept person. I am not a very number-minded person. So how I approached it was I just saw videos, I understood the concepts. So if I didn't understand, there are lots and lots of time like where we get fed up when preparing the subject, like ARMA or something some advanced niche concepts that we are not able to understand with just the Pfizer notes. So in those times, I took a break, came back to it later, or I just stopped studying and then came back the next day, something like that. So my basic approach was to watch videos. So I took help from Bionic Turtle videos, and then I read from Schweizer notes, the Schweizer books, and then I solved the Schweizer question bank. And then I was ideally I was trying to solve Bionic Turtle question bank as well. I had all the printouts ready, but unfortunately I didn't have the time to do everything, so I only did foundations from Bionic Turtle. So yeah, so that's how it went. Actually, it was very erratic, sir. I wouldn't recommend my style of preparation for other people because it was very on and off. Like in November, I prepared really well because I was there are 60 chapters, right? I estimated that I will need only 60 days or hardly 90 days to just cover the content. But to cover the content itself, it took more than 4 months. So things never go as planned. So at least in my case, and I was, I mean, studying after 4 years after graduating from college, right, as a mid-career professional. I don't know if it's maybe because of that or I had other personal, issues as well in family. So I couldn't concentrate well in the last 2 months, like April and May, when I gave my exam, just before I gave my exam. So how I prepared was I watched the videos and then I read the Pfizer notes side by side. And then I made handwritten notes from the videos as well. And then I went to problem solving from Schweizer QB. So that was proper. I did half Schweizer QB before my November attempt. I mean, before the November exams came, and then it got postponed. So and then for May attempt, I again started in February, and then I did a second reading of the entire portion, which I was not able to completely cover as well because again I was not able to meet my target, deadlines that I set for myself. So I covered close to 50 odd chapters before I gave my exams. So, but I was confident in those 50 odd chapters. Okay, I can clear. I mean, not that I can clear, but just at least I know what I've read. So I have that confidence. And then till the end, I was only focused on concept building. So I didn't focus much on question bank. But I wouldn't recommend that for everyone because I had to do I had to focus on concept building because it was the base. So yeah, for anyone else who's preparing, I would say don't underestimate the course. Try to start 8 months, 9 months if possible. Try to start as early as possible because you never know what life can bring in between. Like because we can't predict what can happen next in life. You may be hindered 1 month. You may be unable to prepare. Anything can happen. So just start as early as possible, even 9 months, 8 months, a year, anything. And then do 2 times reading. I would highly recommend because when I read for the first time, I understood everything. But when I read for the second time, I noticed the minor details that I did not understand the first time. So I highly recommend 2 times reading of the entire syllabus. And then uh, basic, I feel Schweizer QB because it will give you the confidence. I was able to solve at least 70%. I was able to get right 70% of the answers when I solved Schweizer QB. It gave me confidence. But unlike other prep providers, they will pull confidence away from us, I feel. I mean, they are good. So I did self preparation. I didn't take anyone's coaching except for the BP videos that I watched. So yeah, that's about it, sir.
Thanks, Srivarani. Because your experience which you shared, I'm sure that it is going to help a lot many working professionals like you. It's one thing preparing for a global competitive exam like that of the FRM, because it's not limited by a geography, and only 1 in 4 candidates pass the exam. That's number one. Number two, the demographic profile of the candidates obviously is much diverse. It's not like your +2 candidates only, wherein
Exactly.
they're just undergraduate level. You have, as you say, that you have people who are working professional in their 30s. You have people who are working professional even in their 40s, and then you also have just fresh college joiners who are maybe 18 or 19 years or even 20 years old. So imagine the kind of vast diversity that is, and nobody should underestimate the course by that means, because only 1 in 4 candidates passed at the first attempt itself. You're of course one of them. The second important thing is that you mentioned that your study strategy should not be adopted by others, because I think you said that out of the 60 odd chapters, you focused on 50 chapters because of maybe shortage of time. And but then yes, you were thorough in those 50 odd chapters. Personally speaking, I would also not recommend anybody to punt any chapter. But obviously, in your case, as you say, that life can bring uncertainty at any given point in time. One should start early. So yes, that worked for you. But yes, the bottom line still remains that you cannot really compromise with the number of hours that you have to put in the course. Okay, so from that, tell me that the last, so we got a understanding of your entire schedule of 6, 8, 9 months thing that you said. But did you do anything different in the last 30 odd days that actually paved your success?
Sir, I focus a lot on concept building. So people say, no, like, okay, if you have 6 months, study for 4 months, and then 2 months, just solve QB. Because I got recommended the same. Like, solving QBs is like 50% of, crossing the ocean. So, like, studying is 50%, solving QB carries as much weightage as, studying. But for me, unfortunately, it didn't make sense for me to. I mean, you learn a lot. Generally, one person tends to learn a lot as we solve QB, because obviously we are not able to. Because when we take like Bionic Turtle or even Schreiser, I am sure like anyone who's completely fresh to the subject will find it learning as well, solving QBs because they are learning something new way to approach the problem, etc. But I only focused on concept building in the last 30 days. Again, because uh, I did not have enough. I mean, I couldn't allocate much time to study in February and March. So April and May just focused on concept building. I was like, okay, if I have the concepts ready, I can attempt MCQs. So let's just hope for the best. So I just focused on concept building.
So how many mocks did you attempt in all? In all?
Mhm. So I did 2 mocks, to be honest. It's very less. Normal people, I have heard success stories. Like actually, I did watch videos like this before I started preparing. So people usually prepare from anywhere between 4 to 8. They give 4 to 8 mocks, but I was only able to give two. Again, because I wanted to focus on the concept building. Like I was like, if I don't have the concepts down correctly, what's the use even if I do question banks? What's the use even if I give mocks? Uh, I did give 2 mocks just to test myself, and those were Schweizer from the Schweizer practice books, and it was very difficult. So one thing I realized was it's a 4 hours exam, so it was an incredibly difficult task to sit in one place for 4 hours. I did not expect this. I only thought about this in the last week of the exam. So yeah, anyone like your brain needs to be on for like 4 hours because you need to constantly think. That was very hard for me because I was just 2 hours exams. I was used to 3 hours exam, but 4 hours was new. And we didn't have any breaks as well, right? So yeah, and I was using even up to the last minute. I was thinking, solving questions even up to the last minute. So that was one good thing. Uh, yeah, yeah.
So if I may ask that, did you time those mocks, and in your actual exam, were you able to complete all the 100 questions?
Yes, in my actually when I gave those 2 mocks, it took longer time. I took actually 5 hours, I think, and one time I took 3 hours, took a break. I had to take a break for after 3 hours the first time because I could not sit and think. My brain didn't work. I don't know why, and I was finding great difficulty. Not many people talk about this, but I feel this is a real obstacle. So. Yeah, that's why I would recommend people to give more mocks. But there is a negative side as well to this. Like it may lower your confidence. So whatever works for you, I guess. But for me, the Schweizer practice books that I attempted the questions from, those were a little bit more difficult from the actual exam. In the actual exam, the questions were much simpler than I expected. Uh, I mean, it was still hard, but not to the level that I expected. The quants were very less. I hardly got like less than seven quant questions that involved calculations. And yeah, mostly it was a plug and play formula type question. And that was the easy part. Yeah. So in my actual exam, I had time. I was able to attempt all 100 questions, but it took up till the last minute.
I think I can understand where you're coming from. I think given your situation, which is different than the other normal test taker would be, because you did not many mocks, you emphasized more on concepts. That means that you more emphasized more on solidifying your foundation, solidifying your base, rather than actually perhaps mindlessly taking mocks just for the heck of it. It works for you. I think part of it is because you have been in the industry. It's not like many others who actually start with FRM in their undergrad, push it through, and then try to make a career out of it. But in your case, you were actually doing bar. You, it's like, it's like a, if I may put it, it's like a scooter mechanic, or it's like a motorbike mechanic who knows how to perhaps fix a bike, but may not know the principle behind what actually goes into it. So, and equally
Yeah.
respectable, because only having the principal knowledge and not knowing the practical part of it, that will not work. Only doing the practical work and not the principle behind it is also not going to work. So in your case, you had the practical knowledge. You just needed to connect the dots. Perhaps that is the reason that why you could sail through even by attempting only fewer mocks than the other normal or regular candidates. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of a kind preparation thing, and I think, yeah, may work for some, may not work for all. To each his own, or
Correct.
her
Correct.
own in your case. Okay, so from here, Srivarani, a couple of more questions before we end this session. Where do you see your career going from here right now? I mean, since you are now armed with part one, was your organization supportive of it?
Yes, to an extent, my team was incredibly supportive. They gave me 7 days leave, and I was able to plan everything accordingly. And obviously, cooperation from them. So my team was incredibly supportive. As for my organization, like obviously, since I'm into fund accounting right now, right? So it doesn't really apply risk management to my current work profile. So I think it doesn't add much value to my current work profile. But obviously, since now I have a pre-nav experience now, so but not to the level I wanted, but yeah, I have some pre-nav exposure. So hopefully, I'll be shifting back to investment banking roles that involve data analytics or risk management in some way or another. So yes, so that's how I see my career. So I want to keep working. Obviously, use my FRM as well in whatever I'm working, and I'm also studying data science as of now. So hopefully that will be helpful for me. So looking forward to it. Yeah.
Will you be taking your parts too soon?
No, so I want to give myself some time. I want to give myself a lot of time. So I will be giving my part two in May 2022, in 2023. I'm sorry. So because in November 2022 there is this 4 months I think. So it's obviously not it's impossible. So I mean it's possible for geniuses, but I feel for me, I want to build this right kind of concepts because it's not about just passing the exam. I feel I should get the concepts right. I should practice a lot of questions so that this will be with me for long time. So yeah, I will be giving in next year, May 2023, and I
Is
will
your
start very soon. Mhm.
is your organization reimbursing your supporting financially your endeavor to pursue FR?
Not as of now, sir, because as I said, this is a fund accounting. It's completely different, right? So they don't endorse for risk management, but I think they do give support for CPA and stuff like that. CPA, CFA to some extent, I think. Yeah. So I'm not for FRM since it's a different stream.
So, Srivarani, I also wanted to share with you back the major recruitment drive as far as FRM is concerned in today's scenario in India. That's being mostly driven by the public sector banks. And as ironical and as surprising it may sound, you may be astonished to know that one of the largest recruiters of FRM charter holders happens to be the State Bank of India.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
the yes, and why I say this, I do make mention in my other videos as well, with other students as well, other candidates as well. One of my students, it goes back around 6-7 years. I've been supporting the FRM and the CFA candidates for almost last 7-8 years. One of my student candidates, I recall, he was in his late 20s or early 30s, and he was working with Axis Bank, had some exposure in credit risk management,
okay.
and then he took his FRM. And when he actually successfully passed his FRM, he got to be hired with State Bank of India as Assistant General Manager because he has the FRM charter. Now, I would not know exactly what is his current designation or current role would be, but what I can tell you is that because of the dearth of risk management, see, risk management as a line function or as a profession is a sunrise sector. Okay. Hitherto, before the subprime crisis, not everybody attached the due importance to risk management as a standalone department. It was only after the 2007-2008 subprime crisis that banks, other financial services sector, including the insurance sector, they took a note of the need of separate risk management department. So it's then the concept of CRM, the concept of ERM, the centralized risk management, the enterprise risk management. These concepts became actually the meat of the whole thing, rather than just being buzzwords. So as such, there is a lot of potential. It's people like you who are going to actually adorn the next generation of risk management profession. And I see most of the banks, if you talk about a PSU banks in India, where the average age of assistant general manager would be 40 plus. And imagine a 32-year-old is being awarded that or is being designated that just because he had a few years of risk management experience alongside the FRM charter. So one of the prerequisites in all the public sector banks is that you must have an FRM charter or a CFA charter in order to be qualified or apply for the risk management job. So yes, it's an evolving field, and things can actually change. In your current role may not be so, but yes, don't give it up. I'm sure that it's going to actually beckon a lot many good vista in maybe another 4 years, 5 years down the line. By that time, you would have a decade of experience, and I'm sure that by that time you would also be in a much senior position than what you are right now. All right, so now coming back to the little WhatsApp group that we had,
Yeah.
do you believe that it did help your cause, the doubt solvings or the constant discussion that we had, the hustles, the debate and stuff like that helped in some way?
Definitely, definitely, sir. It was so helpful, but not in a way that normal person would expect. So actually, like there were a lot of complex questions, and when I say complex, these are like too much. So it required a lot of complete understanding and also analytical thinking. So calculating the forward prices right from everything. So and the options, the type of questions that were shared, we can debate which is the right answer for some time, because the options are like that. Like each option had its own merit, had its own demerit. So it was type of questions like that. So when I first joined the group, and then the questions started coming, I lost my confidence, because then it came to a point. Okay, I don't know anything. Let's start learning. Like it really humbles you, puts you in a place, gives you. Actually, there are a lot of brilliant people in the world. Like there are like lakhs and lakhs of smarter people than us. So we should always strive to, we should strive to learn more, right? So it was like that, because I didn't know the answer. Now, when I look up questions from level one group, I still can't solve some complex questions. But I'm still in that group, in that level one group, so that I can learn from the answers. So whenever I have time, I always go through your answers, sir. I always go through other people's answers as well in the group. So it really helped me a lot, especially the video you shared on the bond value calculation, everything that cemented my concepts in the cash flow computation for bonds. So thank you so much, sir, for whatever you do in the group and for your support, mentoring, everything. So I hold a lot of respect for you, really. Like you're such an education enthusiast enthusiast champion. So yeah, really nice. Thank you so much.
Uh,
Mhm.
thanks, Srivarani. I'm humble. You're too kind with your words, but I think that I should not take the singular credit for the group. Of course not. We created this group, me along with one of the candidates. We first created the group. He only asked me to take over the reins. But what I always encourage and I like about our group is that there are no good morning messages, there are no Diwali wishes or any other thing. It's strictly restricted to the purpose for the group. And secondly, fortunately, we have been able to build a culture wherein you don't look for an answer immediately. I always wanted people to debate out. I always wanted candidates to brain rack themselves, exhaust themselves. Basically, I wanted you to mentally exhaust yourself completely. Because, we all make mistakes. Do you believe that I also do 100% of the problems right in level 1, level 2, or level 1, level 2, level 3 of the CFA? No, it's not possible for anybody. I can't be carrying 15,000 pages worth of information in my brain and solve questions. So it happens over a period of time, you gain expertise. But then I also learned from the group. And lot many people pitched in. It was not only me. There are a lot many people who helped each other. The only thing that I think I tried to do responsibly is to ensure that those kind of debates and those kinds of hustling and those kind of interaction happen. And yes, we broached all the right questions. Those questions were complex. Obviously, easy questions were few and far between. Complex questions will only come up in those kind of sessions. So, and you also contributed, I think, in your own little way. And so before we wrap up this session, in last 60 seconds, would you like to give any sort of advice other than what you've given already to the future aspirants?
Okay. So one advice I would give is like don't be anxious, guys. Don't get confused between prep providers. Stick to the basics, and if you pick someone, it's okay. Stick with them. You will get through it. Uh, yeah, most focus on concept building. Even if you things don't go as you planned, like you plan to cover 4 months all the questions, 2 months concept building, it doesn't go as you planned. It's okay. Take your time because we are playing the long game. Even if you don't clear in the first attempt, second attempt, third attempt, fourth attempt, you have a lifelong ahead of you. So what matters is if you have picked this management, so stick to it until you clear it, see it until the end. So that's what I would say because that's the attitude I had going into this. I told myself, okay, even if it takes 4 years, I'm gonna clear this and I'm gonna get the charter. So I mean, there are a lot of genius people around us who clear in the first attempt, do 2 months of preparations. So don't compare yourself with others. Do things in your own pace. Focus on your strengths. I was confident in concepts, so I focus on concept building. If you are into solving numbers, numericals, focus on that. So take things as they come along the way. Don't panic. Focus on your mental health. Do physical exercise. Eat well, sleep well. Yeah, that's what.
Wonderful. Wonderful, Steven. In fact, I myself could not have said it any better. Focus on yourself. It's your exam, not somebody else who claims to have passed the exam in 2 months. It doesn't matter. Yes, it's absolutely right. Srivarani, thanks for being on the show and thanks for actually enlightening the future aspirants that how they should approach a difficult yet not impossible exam like that of FRM. And well, thanks for everything. And I wish you all the very best in your future endeavor for FRM Part 2. And I hope your journey does not stop even after completing your FRM. I would want you to take up the other courses like CFA or any other thing that you'll be there. Rest assured, I'll be there with all along. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. Such like great chance opportunity that I got to meet. I mean, meet you via call. So thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you for solving doubts and everything. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.